have a pint of pear cider in my local pub.
Oh my
Just
goodness!
because it's so hot, and yeah.
Oh, and then your beer is like lukewarm as well. That would be
Oh no,
disgusting on
no,
a
it
hot
was cold. I insisted on ice in it.
Well, you know what's so cool about this? You know what's so cool about this situation though? It's
Son.
it's the it's the fact that that English people need to realize that air conditioners are important.
Yeah, but we
Well,
would only
yeah.
use it for 2 days in a year. Yeah.
You know what?
Yes,
We need
that's a
it.
lot.
You know what?
Yeah.
Friggin', I learned in Arizona, just because your freaking car runs, that doesn't mean you not put a freaking gallon of water in the trunk.
Yeah, but this isn't the US. Have you ever seen
I'm talking about
British
Arizona,
weather?
though.
Yeah, have you ever
Like
seen
in
British
case you get
weather?
stranded somewhere, or
No, well, no, because in Arizona, your car has a tendency of overheating because it's hot.
okay.
Okay, and that doesn't apply to everywhere in the United States either. That applies to just Arizona. So, like, it teaches English people that even though it doesn't get hot, you might want to buy at least a small air conditioner that you can sit down next to you so that it cools you off.
Yeah, but they're noisy. They're relatively expensive compared to fans. And,
Yeah, I was gonna say, the alternative to an air conditioner is a fan and like a hand mister, where you just like squirt mist into the air in front.
Yeah. Now those are called swamp coolers in Arizona. They use those too.
Yeah.
They actually can get quite cool.
Now,
Yeah,
I told Mr. Robot before the stream started, I did put notifications out to everybody that if they want to come in and discuss the topics that I posted, that they're welcome to do it. We have it live streaming on Rumble, X, Twitch, Kick, and DLive. Now, this one isn't being streamed on YouTube. I figured that we are probably going to get in trouble on the last video that me and Mr. Robot and Sonia and Michael Paul did, but I'm not quite sure which one. So I split them in half.
Saw that.
I split them in half because I know at least one of them is going to get us in trouble. You know what I mean? I just don't know which one. You know what I mean? Because and I know that it wasn't like really to me it didn't seem too controversial, but we did talk about some stuff that may get us in trouble on there off and on. So I don't know. There could be a chance that both of them gets me in trouble, and if it does, then I'm done with YouTube.
Well, once they're done with YouTube, YouTube's still quite useless. It's just acts as a good test.
Well, I mean,
YouTube's been done with us for a long time. So.
Well, see, the thing is I've lost my warnings on my main channel. So now if I get in trouble, it's strike system. So if I get in trouble with two of them, that's 2 strikes, and that's bad. That's bad.
I feel like I'm in like primary school again. It was like,
yeah, I really hate that. I really hate the strike thing. But if you've got a choice of just not posting to YouTube, or you posting to YouTube and getting a strike and maybe getting banned, I know which one I would take.
You know what you should do is just make a trailer for YouTube that points them to Rumble or something.
Yeah. We've talked about this before.
I can actually do that on Rumble. They give me the option to, where if I want to do the video on Rumble, I can tell them that this is being played on Rumble, and if you want to see it, come to Rumble and watch it.
Make a trailer using a montage of most interesting or funny sort of parts.
Well, I do that actually. I got 15-minute videos going out on the stuff.
But
That
I mean, a main trailer, a singular trailer.
well, I could do a promo.
Yeah, like an exciting one.
Yeah.
Like,
But the thing of it is there's so many cool things that we do. You know what I mean? It's like freaking.
well, that's why the trailer would be really cool.
Yeah. As long as it's safe for YouTube, then
I could use that one scene where Karma flashed out her dildo.
that's not safe for YouTube.
I,
Final strike.
I think freaking I think that would be freaking just. Well, I don't know. I think I might have.
I was not thinking like an Indiana Jones scene with your face on it and like delving into ancient mysteries, politics, blah blah.
No, that's a bit sensationalized.
Well, that's
People like
what
sensationalized.
that's what we need to do. Then we need to like have a promo that has both one that's not sensationalized and then another one that is sensationalized, and then like it'll have two different kind of takes on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
You'll get the boomers and the young kids.
Well, the young kids are easy, but it's getting the older ones to come in. You know what I mean?
Hang on, is there anything such as are boomers still alive though?
Yeah,
my dad's still alive, so yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah, they are still alive, but they're all more into Facebook and the Facebook games. Like they play
on their phones.
Oh, I don't know. Most boomers
Farmville.
don't really have very much interest in social media.
Maybe
put 'em
in
on-
general life.
Dude, you put them on Facebook and show them Farmville, okay, and it's over. You will never talk to them again.
I don't know.
And
Probably went through that phase in the 90s.
my dad still
Yeah.
plays that freaking Facebook game where you play pool, and then like
But funny enough, my old man's still a fan of the original Command and Conquer games.
Oh, yeah, we were just talking about it the other day. I want to play that again.
I
And I actually did purchase the entire set just a couple of months ago.
Bought it? I didn't know you can still buy it.
Yeah.
You can get it on archive.org, you know, for free.
Yeah, it was a Steam purchase.
I had
All the
I had the CD
You can
for
play it on Linux now.
Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
I had the
I had
Tiberian
the-
Sun CD where you could play the CDs, and they had two of them, and I lost the red, so I'm not. I got pissed because I don't like being gold.
I can send you a link. You can get it on archive.org as an ISO and just, mount it.
Well, I think you can get it for free on Steam now too.
Yeah, it's open source now.
That's the open source engine. You still need the data files.
Oh, you do?
I think you still need the data files, and the data files
Yeah,
are
you can download
proprietary.
the data files. It's not hard.
There was one
Not
thing.
sure legally though. Not
There was
sure
one-
about legally.
There was one thing I wanted to ask you, Mr. Robot, that I didn't realize we missed out on the last show with Michael Paul. But you said that you had information that you found out about the double slit experiment that debunks it, and you never got around to saying that. So,
Well, okay. So, I would just point people to the video because they could explain it a lot better than I can. But the end sort of result, because this girl, she's like a physicist, and she basically redid a form of the double slit experiment, and there's like a thing where like she did it with light, with two light sources, and that kind of proved that light was, or it acted like a wave, and only in certain circumstances you could say it acted like a particle, but it's not. It's more like a packet, and like individual photons, you know. So, but then she couldn't do it as a real experiment with electrons, but there's like electrons simulators online, and she did the experiment through there, and it also acted as a wave function. And so the end sort of conclusion was that it was neither a wave nor a particle, but it acted like both in certain circumstances.
Just to clarify, do you want to just give us a brief explanation of what the double slit experiment is?
Okay, so the double slit experiment was basically a lot of people reference it these days to say that the universe is a matrix, man, because when they did this experiment and they shoot like electrons through two slits in like a metal sheet, I suppose, and then it hits a particle detector at the other end. And when they do that, normally they say that it acts like a wave function because there's an interference pattern on the detector. Because like waves sort of interact with each other and it creates a wave function. But then they say when you observe like which hole the particle goes through, it acts like a particle. All right, and physicists postulated it was the act of observing it that caused it to act like a particle. But this girl was postulating that when you shoot individual packets of information through, whether it's an electron or a photon, it seems to act like a particle, but it actually does that all the time, because when you shoot the full stream through, there's so many particles that they just blur into each other and you can't really see them. So yeah, it didn't seem to me like it was necessarily the observation of it. It was that caused it to do that. It was more the amount you shot through there, if that makes any sense. If you shoot an individual one through at a time, then it looks like a particle. If you shoot them all through at once, they interact with each other and it acts like a wave. And some people sort of like commented and said, like, our mathematics or our interpretation of the universe is really just like a word that we use that most closely describes it, but it isn't necessarily that. Yeah, so it might not be a wave or a particle, but it acts like both. So yeah, that was the sort of gist of it.
I was able to do my cool sci-fi effects so that we could have you explain that while everybody's seeing my cool spaceship and my version of the Matrix, which I think is 5 times better.
That's pretty cool.
Look at that, dude.
Yeah, that was mad.
That I did that, and guess what I did it with? I did it with Blender, dude. No AI whatsoever.
That's your manual.
Yeah, that's like painting by hand rather than
painting by hand. Let's stay away from the politics for that, because you know who that is, right? When you start saying words like painting by hand, right?
Yeah, shall I bring Rio on the conversation?
No, I was thinking of what's his face, that one dude, the gay dude with the.
What do you mean, the guy with the curly hair?
Yeah, he says he has got that beard. He sits there and says, "Let's talk to the tree, shall we?"
I wish we could remember his name.
I forgot his name. Kramer made a joke about him. He did a really cool video of it where he was talking about what's his name, Muhammad, and he was pretending to be him, where he would make a drawing of Muhammad, and he says, "Here, let's put in his little 6-year-old wife."
Oh, you're talking about the American version of Wolf Alice. What's his face? died in the 80s, I think.
Yeah.
Famous
But
in the 70s and the early 80s on US
Bob
TV.
Ross, isn't it? Bob Ross.
Yeah.
That's
American.
The American version of 4 hours. Yeah.
Okay, so
Um,
I was glad that you was able to get into that. Now, before we get into topics, I want to remind everybody, if they're watching, that we do have the links available on X. It's also available on Teams for anybody who's on Teams. I put the links as well. No, I don't think I did it on Rumble. I'm not going to do that on Rumble or on Twitch or Kick, because you guys are just a waste of my time. And D-Live to you guys.
But we love you anyway.
No, not really. Mark loves you. But, well, D-Live, at least freaking people talk to me in chat, like, I'm really getting a little resentful about this shit, you know what I mean? I keep saying it at the end of the stream. I'm like, guys, please talk to us. And nobody freaking talks to us.
I take it personally.
I do. I mean, seriously, I take it personally. DK's...
Roger cries in the corner every single night.
I do. I do. I really do. Because,
I talk to you sometimes, Roger. I comment on our own videos.
I know. It's like on Rumble, you talk to me. Sonia talks to me. On D-Live, Mark talks to me, and DK talks to me. And then on...
Here's the thing. Even on Rumble, I think only like 1% of users actually use the chat. And probably less even the comments. So, like...
Yeah, I think you'll find that... yeah, I think you find that with most YouTube or video creators, podcast
yeah, so like
creators.
if you get 1,000 viewers, you might get 10 people that do it. So...
I do... I do want to point something out that's really, really cool. I've been going on this one dude's stream, and I'm not going to say his name because he doesn't freaking know me from freaking Adam. But I've been going into the chat, and one thing that I one day want to do is I want to set it up to where we have freaking an actual stream, and we allow people to come on and tell their stories. And then they hang out in the chat section and have conversations about whatever's being said in the stream,
Mr. Robot, a job for you. Find a cross social media platform, integrated chat client.
That would be cool.
For which platforms do you want to connect to?
For all the ones that we use.
Well, we
probably some sort of plug-in Python thing. Probably.
All we use is Element.
Yeah, no, but I mean, D-Live, YouTube.
Yeah, actually, we have that.
I thought this.
That's what I was getting ready to say. We have that here, actually. Like, I'm actually hooked into Rumble, Twitch, X, and D-Live and all them, and whenever a comment is said on any of those, it'll come onto our live chat over on the right-hand side. So it's just people don't want to talk.
Oh, we get the odd one every day.
No. Using something like...
what's our topics of discussion, Roger?
Well, you guys have been freaking going ape shit crazy in the chat on Elements. And I've been kind of sifting through some of it. Now, I know that you guys are really into the stuff that's going on today when it comes to immigration. And I've talked about this topic for quite a long time, about civil war. And Mark Edworthy posted something from an English alternative media source that... had the name on it live, "Don't Start a Civil War." Okay? Now, I do have to give them credit because not too many people in the even in the alternative media, talk about discuss what's going on in Northern Ireland. I mentioned that before when we were doing our last episode of Untethered. But I also want to go farther with that and mention the fact that we had the conversation and why I brought that up about why is it that the alternative media who's supposed to be, discussing stuff about this isn't discussing it. And I said it was because they were ashamed of it. Mark had his opinions on it, but the reason why I said that they're ashamed of it is actually because what happens is like they're using this for people to come on, or using what they put on their channels as something that attracts people to come and watch their stuff. Okay,
That's really it.
And if you're into watching all the videos that are actually being put out on all of these platforms, you would easily see that the majority of people who are even bringing Ireland up are usually white supremacists. And they don't.
Please, you're making such a broad statement.
Let me finish. They don't even deny the fact that they're white supremacists. I mean, I actually.
Nor do half of them agree that they are white supremacists. It's because I don't go around and publicising that I deny that I'm a unicorn. Doesn't mean I am a unicorn.
Are you trying to tell me that there are not white supremacists that are in Ireland?
You're complaining now. You just said most people, and you're now saying, do you deny that there isn't any? That's
are you telling me that there are not people on the internet right now who are point blank saying they're white supremacists?
I've never said there isn't a percentage that are.
There.
But
here's my nuanced response.
Do not conflate.
I just saw. Go ahead.
Here's the thing, Roger.
No intelligence of you.
No, it's not.
You need to realize there's every type of person out there, and there's not just white supremacists. There's supremacists from every culture out there on the internet. But I think right now there is a resurgence in interest in white culture and the white if you want to call it race or whatever. But I think there's a lot of sort of solidarity forming now because the white people realize they're actually at threat of sort of extinction if they don't learn how to come together again and appreciate their own culture, because we've been sort of brought away from it through media and stuff like that over a long period of time. And our birth rates are dropping in the white race really since the 1960s. So there is people who are actually white supremacists, and there's people who kind of come across as that because of their sort of renewed interest in sort of espousing those ideas or whatever, in white solidarity and whatnot.
Well, let me point something out too about that video that I watched that Mark shared. The thing that I do compliment him on is the fact that he said, "Do not listen to the Tories," and the reason why he said that was because he is not racist. Okay, now I give him credit because he actually did make that stream. But let me point out what happened to me about 3-4 days ago. I got a freaking recommendation on my channel where this kid freaking started talking about the incident with the 2 boys that got arrested. And he said that the mob ended up freaking taking over, and they went out and not only damaged the property that the boy lived on, but burned it down. Now, after he mentioned all that, he said that it was a shame. But the reason why it was a shame was because perfectly good white people could have lived in that freaking house. It wasn't for the fact that they destroyed the property and they committed crimes. It was because good white people could live there.
Who stated that exact sentence?
It was on a video that I watched.
Okay. Yeah, it was actually
Yeah,
stated.
And there's
Have
there's
you-
there's tons of videos out there that says that, Mark. I don't understand.
You are going to find videos. During the Black Lives Matter protest, do you remember any large amount of black supremacist content on it?
not mentioned in the media, that's for sure.
Okay, so
But
this
it was there. It was there.
this
Oh
is
yeah, for
there.
sure.
see,
Still
see
is
now,
there.
now this is what brings me to my next argument about this is because like everybody who freaking wants to bring up this thing about freaking identity politics, okay? They keep mentioning how there's Black Lives Matter and how many black supremacists were doing that stuff. But you look at what these people are doing. The same people who talked about identity politics are the same ones who are using it now, dude. It's the same freaking shit, but it's
I
a
agree.
Well,
I agree.
here's the thing. They played on people's sort of tendencies with that. But remember who funded Black Lives Matter? It was George Soros and the Open Society Foundation, right? So these people, they sow unrest in a culture and through financing certain types of political elements, you know?
I
And
think there's
so
a bigger.
let's not
I
think
think there's a
these
bigger
are
issue.
natural things that occur.
Yeah, I know where a lot of this been influenced by, but there is a bigger question there. This is related to for the last at least 20 odd years,
30.
especially in the UK with the 2010 Equalities Act brought in, which I still think is a really bad act. It was written. There's been a culture, a top-down driven culture, and which has really seeped into both US, Europe, and UK and Western culture about identity politics, and it has been very evident since, let's say, 2010.
I would go.
I
I
would
would
also
go back
argue that, like, for
90s.
hundreds of years, you know, top-down forces have funded, like, you know, political revolutions throughout history, going back to the Enlightenment era in France, to the American Civil War. There's always been these like powerful, like, funders of these different groups, just like we do proxy wars today, and yeah, I dropped that documentary for you, Roger, to check out and verify on the American Civil War, the original one, and how, like, you know, British families like would fund parts of the war. You know, Freemasons would fund parts of the war. And but yeah,
there are good stories about the French support.
Yeah. No, that's what's actually being brought up here recently, and that's something he mentioned on that video. But the thing too, when it comes to all of this, is like I disagree with him on one point when it comes to this identity politics. I don't believe that like one side is pushing it and then the other side is becoming a victim. Like white people are becoming a victim because of it. I think that it's coming from both directions. That they're
I think that's true.
It's
now.
because it's not. It's not a societal phenomenon.
Mr. Roberts, just a second. This is a very important point. I think that is true now, but because of things like Black Lives Matter and the various LGBT organisations, remember, these organisations need to make money. And this is one way of them making money. Once this,
yeah, but who is forcing them to put it in there so they can make money? This is the top-down control.
Come out of public interest. Once the public gets bored with it, these companies have to further promote this for the purpose of them to again make money.
Yeah, but the people, like the higher institutions of power, enforce places like Disney to put this stuff in their media because it's class warfare. It's not between like
Yeah,
people
I
necessarily.
agree. I've made this point a few times before. The US doesn't really understand the class system as such because they've
Well, they used to.
not
They've
really
forgotten.
have to deal with it. But well, me and you, because of where we come from, have a good idea about European class system.
Yeah.
And it is a class. It's mainly a class style fight rather than an
Well,
identity
it's
politics.
super obvious now, really. Like, look at like the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing and how they're getting away with their crimes. Like, look at like Israel and like how they're getting away with their crimes. There's like definitely a multi-tiered justice system that's like plainly to be seen now by people, especially in America as well. So, like, I think we're coming to grips with it again now in the modern day. So.
You say two-tier police
I
system.
said multi-tier.
This is evident on an international scale and a national scale. I mean, look at what's happening in the UK with these sort of so-called political prisoners and the two-tier stances that
Yeah.
Starmer has pushed in the last couple of
Totally.
months.
Now, with me, this brings me into a lot of the stuff that with Epstein especially, and then P Diddy. Now I know everybody's like, "Well, I'm so sick of hearing about P Diddy," and me too. The only thing I learned about P Diddy is the invention of Astroglide. And back when I was talking to you guys about it, I thought it was like he was making these chicks freaking get out there and play on a freaking slip and slide. You know what I mean?
Sorry. Oh, you talking about the baby oil?
The gel. Well, I knew about
Okay.
baby oil, but I didn't know what Astroglide was. It was
Oh yeah. I did have a look at the website, didn't I? It was a sexual
I
ointment.
feel like we're getting off topic. How's this got to do with the Civil War?
But see, the thing about Trump is this, okay? Now, they've got well over 50 videos, or photos, I'm sorry, 50 photos of him with Epstein, okay? And now you take a look at what's happening with Israel and Iran and Trump just jumping on board with that. And then you see Epstein's case being treated the way it was. For me, I'm telling you, man, there's people in powerful places that have dirt on Trump. Trump was in that up to his elbows. He was playing with the girls. He was doing all that 100%.
Again, you state allegedly, just for the lawyers.
Well, it's pretty obvious. There's videos of him out there, like, partying with lots of girls, kissing lots of girls, there's been heaps of allegations in the media in the past.
Well, we've been having the same argument in the UK with Prince Andrew for several years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like, look at how long people denied it, right? Until it turned out to be true.
Technically, I don't think Andrew. It's never gone to court, and I don't think I've never seen Andrew say opposite. I don't think the royal family itself hasn't created a press statement on this issue at all.
Well,
and I doubt that they would. Actually. Not something that they would want to touch.
Well, I mean, it's gotten so bad that even now people who were Trump supporters is starting to freaking question Donald Trump because of the.
Well, that's the good thing that's come out of all this, is finally these like evangelical Trumpists have like finally realized there's corruption in all of politics, and they need to like vote better in the future by vetting people better. Like Trump was clearly a narcissist and a liar all the way through. He's never changed.
The entire US vetting system needs changing, really.
But this is
inside
what
out.
we're getting into now, right? The potential of a new American Civil War. It's a bit of a taboo topic in, like, alt media spheres, because I don't think a lot of Americans want to face this reality as a possibility. But a lot of sort of commentators and have been talking about this, and the fears of like state fragmentation, and the possibility of a new civil war sparking out, especially between like Texas and California, or like
Yeah.
California seceding from the U.S. I don't think necessarily that's a realistic thing economically for California.
Well,
But
California is
they're definitely stoking
liberalized
those
fucking
fears.
companies.
But you can see it happening, though, right?
But, well, there's a lot of
Mm,
tensions in the
I
US right now, that's for
can,
sure.
I can in theory, but I know Texas have been talking about sensation, removing them from the union for many years, but Texas has got a long history of this anyway. I think
Yeah,
that's,
yeah,
But when,
so
when,
yeah.
when you talk about a war, it sounds like more like an organized thing where you have sides, and like, an organized militia or something like that. And right now, everyone's got guns. And I think what's more likely to happen is like some type of revolution rather than a civil war. Like there's America's so polarized across so many different things. I'd be surprised if like two sides unite on any given topic. But
Then we've got a problem in that case, and we are going to see this in Europe if Europe ever gets to the stage of civil war, in both US and Europe. If it will be portrayed as a sort of ethnic civil war,
yeah.
irrelevant of the civil war real main reasons.
but Europe is
It
so
will be
multicultural.
portrayed
How would
as
that
a
be possible?
ethnic civil war.
Right. And I think that too. That's one thing I drew off of that video. I had to stop watching it because there was well, first of all, I had no real time to actually watch the whole thing through. I've been having to catch up on a lot of things that I've been doing in the last week.
I
But
only gave it to you 2 days ago or something.
yeah, but
Yeah.
they brought that up even on their stream too, and it does seem that that is going to be the case. And you cannot deny the fact that this stuff, the exact same stuff, is being hit on all of these countries. Like the same crap that you're seeing here in the United States is being pushed in Europe. The same crap is being pushed in
Yep.
Australia, New Zealand,
Yep.
all over
Yeah.
the
Well, again, I think this is actually class warfare rather than like natural, divisions that are getting like emerging. It's being stoked through the media and through like politics and like all this, in order to like seed that idea into our heads. They even came out with that movie like a year or two ago of like American Civil War with the Trump type character and all that.
Right.
So they're like pre-planting these ideas in our consciousness so that they can sort of like just repeat it enough times for it to sort of happen. And like maybe there'll be a false flag type situation where, they claim that, a Trump supporter mows down a bunch of, of someone of some race or whatever. But I don't think that would be a natural way for it to emerge. It's a possibility, and like they've definitely war gamed that out. But I think what's most likely to happen naturally is like if we run into like severe economic turmoil, like let's say they collapse the crypto markets and the financial system at once, and people just can't buy
unlikely.
food anymore. I think there'll be like a type of anarchy / revolution type thing going on. And
A lot of revolutions are based on shortage of food. The French Revolution Antoinette let them eat cake. Then a lot of the Hungarian Revolution against the Soviets in the 60s was actually related to food.
Right.
Well, that's why the Americans wrote it into their constitution. It's meant to be their responsibility to overthrow the government if it's not working anymore, or if it becomes tyrannical. That's why they have a right to
Yeah.
bear arms.
Right. That's the actual only purpose for the right to bear arms too. It's not so people
Indeed.
can carry around guns and show off to other friends how cool their guns are, or even go hunting. Okay. The sole purpose, and it's written in the Constitution, is to freaking so that we are able to freaking overthrow our government, and even that's being stifled. Now,
Well, that's why they're trying to bring out anti-gun laws for so long. They fear that possibility because it would be very difficult. Like, I mean, the power is in the people's hands in America, at least, because they have
At
the
least
guns
in
still.
theory. At least
Well,
in
the
theory.
problem is they've stopped running their own militias and relied on a standing army, which is not really how the constitutionalists envisioned it, right? They thought they should more have like militias in every state run by the people rather than like large standing armies.
well, see that they screwed us over, because what happened was is Americans fell for this notion that the National Guard was a form of militia, and that's really where all of it fell apart. Now, the National Guard is not a militia. Let me just put that out there. Okay, it's still ran by the government. Whenever they call wars on places like Afghanistan, and they in Iraq, they always send the National Guard first, because they want to kill our National Guard.
Okay, so I thought the National Guard were actually retainees, sort of reserves.
That's what they're,
Well, then,
and their responsibility is to protect the United States here within our borders. Each
they're reserves rather than they are sent. They're the first people that are sent
right,
out.
exactly.
No. Yeah.
Exactly. No, they're the reserves. The reserves always go out first before the standing army. They've been doing it since frickin' Desert Storm. They're the ones that get sent out first because they're cannon fodder, and that's the way frickin' the government wants to do it, so that they don't have to sacrifice their long-term trained military forces. You see, because look at World War II, V-Day, okay? Now, whenever freaking they landed, okay, how many people died on the moment they landed on shore, you see?
I did remember, I did see a figure, I think 25, maybe 30%, if I remember rightly, but that's, yeah.
So they
Yeah, it seems kind of stupid now looking back at it, actually.
Now, when you guys were talking about Prince Albert, I wanted to go back into P. Diddy. Now, when
Prince Andrew, you mean?
well, yeah, you can call him Prince Andrew.
Albert,
Albert. You can call
Have
him
we ever had Prince
Andrew.
Albert?
You can call him Prince Andrew if you want to. Prince Albert is a lovingly name that we
Whatever your code name for him, you say he lives.
here in America, we know what Prince Albert is. Okay, we know, but
Actually, yeah, that's a slang for.
yeah,
Yeah, okay, yeah. I haven't heard that one in years. It's actually a British thing, and sort of died out. And
yeah. See how bad your culture has been subverted. You don't even remember what a Prince Albert is, man. That's
I think the term is appropriatized.
Now, what I was going to get at is like when in response to that, like I understand where Mark is coming from with that all that, because like this goes back to even what's happening here now. You guys have seen all of these deep fake videos about Justin Bieber, all right, and all of these supposed freaking alt media sources are like 100%. This happened to Justin Bieber. To this day, Justin Bieber states he was never a P. Diddy freaking victim. to this day, and still yet these supposed alternative media sources are pushing this and
You're going to get both main media and alternative media making mistakes.
I don't know how we keep getting Civil
in
War.
some cases there are biases.
Well, this also relates to Prince Andrew and the allegations that were made about him.
I think I'm not absolutely sure about all, but the Sun, and the Mirror UK newspapers have sort of ignored the story. Actually, the Independents might have as well. But yeah, majority
in Andrew's
of
case, there's quite a bit of evidence though. Like, I mean, women have come forward. Who was it that reporter, interviewed or like sneak interviewed one of his close confidants, and he admitted it.
Yeah,
what was
but
the guy-
again, innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, and that's something that these people
How do you get 100% proof of anything like that?
Beyond a reasonable doubt. Beyond a reasonable doubt.
It's called a court of
When
law.
he got asked it in an interview, and watch him lie. His blink rate goes through the roof when he's like, "Nope, never heard of her."
Actually, Andrew always.
You could just tell he's like.
I remember I'm old enough to remember Andrew in the 80s. What is he now? He's 70 years old, 60 years old,
Yes.
something like that. But yeah, but he's always had that habit.
Had that twitch.
Plenty of pictures.
Yeah, he's got a twitch.
But I don't know how this is related to the Civil War, guys. How do we keep getting back on this topic?
This is
yeah.
this is the kind of subversive propaganda that's being pushed out to create hate among the people. You have this faction who's pushing hate, and then this faction who's pushing hate, and you know what I'm saying.
Well,
and most of the stuff they're pushing is just complete garbage, and it's not real. Okay. You want proof? That's called a court of law. They've got DNA, dude, that can freaking hit you with just smoking a cigarette. So if you murdered somebody and smoked a cigarette and put it in an ashtray, you're done. If you didn't put freaking plastic over your body, they're going to find DNA.
Was there a Columbo episode based on that, Humphrey?
There's a lot.
Yeah, there was a Columbo episode based on that one story.
But there's much better examples of like stoking hate than that. There's like all through the media all the time they do the race division stuff in America. Obama pushed it a lot. Through like movies and stuff like that, especially they'll cast white characters as black and black characters as white, and like all sorts of crazy stuff like that all the time. You'll get these crazy liberal celebrities that would like have Trump decapitated and like all sorts of crazy stuff like that.
Did she ever get to any? Did she get to prosecution stage? I can't think of her face and name now.
Who was it?
Who?
The head, the Trump head.
Oh no, she didn't get prosecuted. No. Which is strange because, like, it does seem like a threat, but yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is it's like all of this stuff now they're trying to even say that the attempted assassination on Trump was a hoax. Like he actually sat there and let somebody
the last one, the ear one.
Yeah. Like he actually sat there and let somebody take a shot at his ear and trusted him. I'm sorry, dude. That's not going to happen.
Well, the only way that could have been a hoax is if he didn't get shot in the ear, But I would put it on a very low possibility. I'm not going to discount it completely, but I think it's a very low possibility, mainly because the people behind it got shot.
Yeah, I think with the exception, I know Reagan was attempted assassination tries, and I think every single president for a
That's
period
right.
before
There's been
him.
like 50 different American presidential assassination attempts or something
Well,
like
Yeah.
that.
well,
A lot.
even that you need to kind of get educated on it, because I heard the other night somebody tried to say there was an attempted assassination on Carter, and nobody tried to kill Carter, dude.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like, and that's where I said it's very important for younger people to kind of learn political history so that they kind of get a grasp of what's going on and things like that, because it was openly stated on a freaking live stream, well, Carter, and I'm like, no, dude, Carter was nobody
Okay.
ever tried to assassinate Carter.
Are you sure?
No, I'm no,
Yeah,
yeah,
but the same age as me, if Carter, you'd be very young.
I was 6 years old when
Yeah.
he lost office. No, I was six. He lost office in 1980, so I would have been 7.
Okay, yeah.
But see, the thing of it is I'm into freaking history and political history. I know this.
Have you heard of the woman who tried to assassinate American president?
Which one?
Her name is Sarah Jane Moore,
Which
and
president?
she attempted to assassinate Gerald Ford in 1975.
Yeah.
Was given a life sentence. But there was another one, and she was like a cultist, and she used to wear like a upside down cross or a pentagram or something like that around her neck. She was like a kind of like a Satanist,
Yeah.
basically, or a Luciferianist, you know.
Okay, that does
And I
ring a
think that's-
bell, but
Yeah.
not sure.
So there's been some crazy things in the U.S. and there's some
Crazy
pretty
people in
crazy conspiracies around American presidential assassinations, I believe, because there's no way that kind of consistency happens over time by accident, in my opinion. Like there needs to be some kind of influential larger forces at play instigating these things
Yeah,
for
well,
power.
Now,
one thing I think about is as far as government, as far as authorities are concerned, civil wars are a good thing because they can come in and stamp on it and create even more draconian legislation and draconian actions afterwards.
okay, so
The other one we still haven't seen much about is the RFK assassination. Where are those files? You know,
well, you just received
there's a
them.
lot of evidence showing that Sirhan wasn't the one that actually shot him, and that was evidenced by John Pillagner was in the room with him when he got shot. And he said the shots came from the opposite side of the room from where Sirhan was. And that was shown by where the bullet patterns in the room was. It was on the opposite side. So, and they found out that his security guard that was meant to be looking after RFK was actually like hugging him at the time. And RFK actually like pulled his tie off as he died. And people think that he was the one that actually shot him, and like while the chaos was going on. So it was like a operation going on.
Okay,
And I think he left the country soon after that. Never
So-
did see it again.
you guys kind of took over and didn't let me finish on my cool thing. I mentioned Carter for a reason, guys. Okay. Now, a lot of people think that there was an assassination attempt that was made on him, but the whole thing about that was a guy who was mentally ill. Okay, made a claim that he was a part of a 4-man operation, and they had a plot to assassinate Carter. Okay, now this was put out in the New York Times, and later on it was actually dismissed, and there's good reason for it. But like these people for the longest time had tried to push this idea that freaking there was an assassination attempt made on Carter. You know what I mean? When it wasn't even an attempt, it was just a supposed plot, and the guy was mentally ill and he's completely off his rocker. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And
did you know the guy who did it was Raymond Lee Harvey? Almost like Lee Harvey Oswald. It's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it's just insane shit. And then like these days, it's like that kind of stuff is just superimposed. Everybody's just falling for that crap now. Like all through my life, nobody listened to stupid shit like that. You know what I mean? Like you could recognize garbage when you heard it. I'm into conspiracy, okay, but don't feed me a whole crap loads of freaking garbage that I know isn't freaking true. You know,
but
I'm not.
Here's what I'm reading here, Roger. Is Harvey? He had a history with mental illness, and he was found carrying a starter pistol with blank rounds, with 70 unsuspended cartridges.
Yeah.
What? So it wasn't even a real gun, and it wasn't even real bullets. Like, what is going on there? That sounds like a conspiracy to me. Like,
no, it sounds like a crazy man. The only thing that they should have had was him walking in his underwear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, he actually claimed he was part of a four-man conspiracy that was to create diversion by firing blanks, and then other hitmen would shoot him. That is classic assassination, like intel agency level assassination, because that's what happened with Sirhan and the other guy, and that's what also basically happened with JFK was slightly different, but they had a 3-man or maybe even a four team sniper squads, and they were shooting it from different angles and stuff like that. So intel agencies, they often do stuff like this where they have a patsy that they will blame it on at the end.
Have you ever sat down and actually listened to Sirhan?
Only brief clips and stuff. Why?
He is freaking nuts, dude.
I came up with it, and but I don't think he was the guy that did it, to be honest.
He claims that freaking aliens were involved in that shit too.
What?
Yes. He is really, really out there. He has the imagination of Charles Manson, just putting it to you that way. Have you ever heard Charles Manson talk and a lot of the crazy stuff?
Yeah, I like Charles Manson talking. He's actually quite eloquent and nice sounding.
Yeah. But
he seems actually pretty sane when I heard him speak, in modern days anyway. I don't know, maybe not back in the day, but
Sirhan does stuff like that. That's something he was really big on. He is completely freaking out there, man.
But that's the perfect fall guy. You know what I'm saying? It's I want to know about this alien thing. That's interesting to me.
It's been a while ago since I've seen the video, but later on we can bring it up and use it as another.
There's actually videos of him from 3 years ago being interviewed. I didn't know he's still alive.
Well, the last time I seen one of his, I think it was maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was an older video that he did. So,
I'm definitely going to check that out because I haven't actually listened to him in the modern times. So I'll check it out.
He is definitely.
That was during the days of MK Ultra and warping people's minds to create a Manchurian Candidate and all that kind of crap. So it wouldn't surprise me if they scrambled someone's mind before they did something like that.
There you go.
Well, for me, today with a lot of the stuff we've been talking about, you know what I mean? I see a lot of narratives that are being pushed by people who are pushing a lot of false propaganda. You know what I'm saying? And it's coming from all directions.
Of course.
You know, and for me personally, I don't feel that that we need to frickin' be saying that these people are the victims and these people are the ones who are doing it, because I'm seeing it coming from both directions. And
Well, yeah, for sure. I think we should stick to the facts as much as possible and let the conclusions sort of emerge from that.
you know,
A lot of times in the past where I've thought something sounds too crazy to be true, and then later on it actually was proven to be true. So I tend to keep an open mind on stuff these days, on what are potentials. I try to put the potential, what it could be, out of my mind and just try and focus on what is going on and learn as much about it as possible. And then usually through that, I will be able to draw my own conclusions.
now Sonia went onto the Rumble chat and she said, "Hey, locks are getting longer, Fabio." So
They are actually. Yeah, I was thinking about having a cut.
she
A couple of days ago.
she must be talking about the man meat, Mark Edworthy.
Indeed.
So, you know, when with that being said, I think it's time that we talk about this doco that Mr. Robot posted up.
Before we go on from that, I just want to say one more thing. I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens. You know, It's
Okay.
like, aliens are involved with more things than you'd ever realize. They are
Little
all around us
human
all
from
the
Upper
time, in our
Century.
heads, stoking our, hopes and dreams and fears. Like, I can't even begin to explain, but
Well,
they interact with me a lot. So I can imagine with politicians, they'd be rife for it.
well, that's the reason why I mentioned the aliens, because I knew that's what you believed. Like, especially
Like,
because,
here's an example. This happened to me not last night, night before, and I had a trade on cryptocurrency, and then I fell asleep. I forgot to close out my trade, and in my dreams, these beings had come to me, and they like, "Hey man, what are you doing with this money? I suggest you close it out, or you like, or do you want to make more money?" I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? And I just kind of like resisted them through the dream, and then they kept coming at me more and more scary, like freaking I had to fight off a bunch of them until it got so annoying I woke up, and then I realized, oh crap, they were waking me up about this trade, and I lost a bit of money, but it could have been a lot worse. So yeah, these beings like communicate with me all the time. So just saying.
I ain't gonna say like it's not something that's beyond reality, what we think is a reality, because like I've mentioned a couple of things that's happened to me in my life too, that I really don't put a name on it, but I've mentioned to it about it, because like there are things that's happened to me in my entire life that's a bit out there, and I've used references like there's experiences that I've had where, like, for example, I've used my son whenever I was sitting on the back porch with him, and we just had a bad storm, and the tree branch that was hanging out by our house had broken, and at that moment we were having a conversation, and I told him point blank, I was like, you're going to end up being the one cutting that down. And it wasn't because freaking I was just being funny. It was because I knew he would be the one doing it, and I've had situations like that happen to me all throughout my life. The last time it happened, it was actually on Nancy's show. She had this crazy dude that was coming on there, and he kept talking about how he freaking was a remote viewer and everything, and how he was going to testify about all this stuff, and when I was sitting there listening to him, okay, there's something that happens to me. It's like I get these emotions that other people seem to emit, And I also freaking there's a like I can see darkness. You know what I'm saying? Or I can see like when people are really positive. I can see that, and it's really
Well, that, what do they call that? What's the word for it?
I have no idea.
Empathic. You're an empath.
Well, see, the thing of it is it's not something that I control. It just happens. You know what I'm saying? And I've never put a name on it. It just like when I was a little kid, when I was growing up, freaking, I always saw the world like a person who sits in a movie theater and is watching life take place on a movie screen. That's how I saw everything. It was like I wasn't a part of it. And then when I got old enough to realize that I was a part of it, then that's when everything started changing. But that kind of thing still happened. You know what I mean? Where
did you realize you were part of it, or did you get convinced that you were part of it? You know what I mean?
That's the question, you know. But it's like this guy though. He was sitting there talking, and you could clearly tell that his mind was shattered. Okay, but I would first off say that he had a mental illness, but the energies that he really pushed off was like freaking like 1,000 forms of evil, of well, not evil, darkness, dark energy. You know what I mean? And I told Nancy, I was like, "There's something wrong with this guy. This guy is messed up. He's got some serious issues, and I don't think freaking it's like a remote viewer. I think that he's got demons. You know?
Yep. 100%, man. I've got lots of friends that have that ability, that empathic ability, and different people experience it differently. Like for me, I see it more with my like third eye vision, I guess. Like I can see it open eye or closed eye, but for me, I can actually see the beings in certain states of mind. You know, like I can actually see what they look like. Whereas other people, they can sense it, like they feel it, like an energy type thing. So like different. Like I think we all have these extrasensory perceptions that it's just actually natural abilities that we all have, and we've sort of forgotten how to use it or something, or we don't use it enough for it to become useful. But it always amazes me how many people actually are able to do these things, yet they never talk about it and they never believe in it in a way. Like they always act as if it doesn't exist. And it's just mind blowing to me.
Well, I can tell when these kind of things are feeding off of people. You know what I mean? And that's what a lot of them do. They feed off of your emotions and they take it.
That's right.
And
they can instigate emotions too. If you have that preconception to like if you have the tendency to be fearful or angry or stuff like that, they can stoke those emotions in you. If you're uncontrolled or unaware of your emotions getting out of control, they can ramp it up in a way and then feed off that, or like create situations where everyone gets into that state. And I used to see it as an evil thing or a bad thing, but now I think of it more like it's just a part of nature. Like, just like we have animals that eat meat and animals that eat vegetables, we have animals that eat energy, good energy and bad energy. It's just different realms of the universe and like different orders of existence. I try not to judge it as much these days. I try to take responsibility for my own emotions and my own sort of state of mind rather than trying to blame it on entities or whatever.
Oh, I think actually with that, I think these are like ancient entities that humans at one time used to call gods. That's what my research is really drawn onto it, because like when you take a look at the ancient Sumerians, when they sacrificed on to these deities, it was understood between them that they had to do that because that these deities fed off of it. So
but all these major ancient religions had some kind of hierarchical order of beings, right? And like the ones at the top they would call gods, which I think we would now call aliens. But like the lower order beings, the ones that kind of cruise around, the Japanese call them what do they call them? Something hungry ghosts, and the Arabs called them genies, and they're sort of more discarnate beings and stuff. So there's definitely, well, it seems to me like there's a different order of these beings. I've experienced it as well, where some of these beings, they almost only exist when you're like looking at them or feeding them or something like that, and then they disappear. But others are more persistent, where they like latch onto you and stick around for many years. So different powers in them for sure. And like even secret societies and stuff like that believe in this stuff nowadays, where they do ritualistic practices to call it in and try and get stuff out of them.
Well, what's an exorcism? You know what I mean? Let's get serious. What do you call an exorcism? And what these people call demons are actually ancient deities that were once worshipped by older belief systems, and now all of a sudden they're demons. You know what I mean? Because they're not approved of by the church.
Well, I take issue with both those terms, demons and deities, because it describes sort of some kind of higher, importance to them than I think they deserve. I think they are just beings like anyone else in the universe. And if we start like worshipping these things or like giving them like disproportionate,
they are deities that are meant to have created the human race.
Well, yeah,
that's what we
should remember where the come from, right?
That too. Hey, okay, let me just say it like this: a higher order of being that so happenly created humans through DNA research.
Okay, yeah.
All right. That's what I would call aliens nowadays.
Okay, is that better for you, Mr.?
Yeah. I can go with that.
Okay, he's been around all of us crazies long enough to kind of understand, kind of accept things. Like, you know what I mean? It's like poor Mark Edworthy. But hey, he's got gray hair though. That's the important.
Think of this, right? Like we are able to actually create our own beings with our own genetic research now. We've created cells from printed out DNA, right? And if we can do it with only 2 decades of DNA research, what can beings do that have had?
DNA research has been going back from the 70s, 60s.
Yeah.
Remember Dolly the sheep back in the 90s in the UK?
We've only had CRISPR technology for 20 years, 30 years, 20 years.
That we know of, guys. Let's keep that in mind. Like CRISPR, that stuff is just way too advanced to be only 30 years old. I'm sorry, but it's way too advanced. It's
not that advanced, really. It's kind of simple.
Yes, dude. It is very advanced.
The advanced part is understanding what the genome is and does. That was the hard part, is mapping the genome and seeing which codes code for which proteins, how those proteins interact with each other. That was the hard part. Manipulating DNA was not hard.
Let me kind of put it out there like this. You are in a generation that has been desensitized to information. Okay, I grew up in a time where we didn't have freaking CRISPRs. When you seen stuff like that, you saw it on an old B-rated freaking sci-fi movie, dude. You know what I mean? So I mean, you got to understand, you have come up in a generation that understands this more than my generation does, because you've been introduced to it at a young age, and it's just everyday knowledge for you. It's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I kind of grew up in the scientific sort of, medical field as well. I've had friends that actually do CRISPR. I took genetics classes in university. my teacher used to create flies without eyes and stuff like that and bring them to class, and just by disabling different genes just to show us and whatnot. So like, yeah, I was like exposed to it quite a bit. But my real point though is like, even the industrial age is only like a few hundred years, right? And like our modern history only tracks back about 12,000 years, and humans have been around for 500,000 years. So like, we actually have such a short window in the grand scheme of things of like understanding. When if you compare that to, let's say, an extraterrestrial species that could have been existing, like had a society or a civilization for like hundreds of thousands or millions of years, that's hard for us to imagine because our time frame is so short. It's like a microsecond in the scheme of things. And the fact that we can already create life, and we're like monkeys banging with wrenches on machines, and like we can like barely just understand this, and we can already do this. That to me, like if there is life out there, if it gets proven to be life out there on even just one planet, it means it's all over the place. And if that's the case, there's 100% chance that there's beings out there that can manipulate DNA, seed planets with DNA, and they would probably conduct these things as experiments just throughout the whole universe to see where life takes hold, how it evolves, all sorts of stuff. I mean, we're going to be doing that soon. So, yeah.
Maybe not soon.
Well, let me also point something else.
Maybe not within our lifetime.
We're both into history and everything. Well, actually, all three of us are to a certain extent. Mark is more scientific than historical, but let me point something else out that's a little bit more disturbing than that. Like we talk about, we've got maybe how many thousands of years of memory. Well, let me just point something out that actual historical information doesn't go back even that far. We don't even have accurate information about 500 years ago, dude. Okay. I've had these conversations with Mark Edworthy about Shakespeare. Okay, people don't even realize that even in our recent history, within the last freaking 1,000 years, we don't have information.
It's mostly been propaganda, right? History is written by the victors. Even when I was growing up, we got taught that Christopher Columbus was the one who discovered South Africa or discovered Africa. And I'm like, only later on did I realize, no, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. There was already people here. How did he discover it? It was like propaganda that was like seeded into the consciousness of the young people so that they feel like they own the place. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, even like the last presidential election, we're still getting propagandized on who won what, who manipulated what. There's no one is, I wouldn't say no one, but like it's not a cultural phenomena that accurate historical information gets documented. Everyone has their agenda and their sort of view on things and speculations on things, but to get real history, you have to like dig through everything yourself and figure it out for yourself, really.
But see, what really turned me on to that first was when I wanted to find out all this cool information about Vlad Dracul and his father. I actually went through and I started checking out the facts that were behind it. And the truth of the matter
who is this? I don't know who this is.
Vlad Dracul. Dracula.
I don't know who that is. Okay. Oh, Vlad the Impaler. All right.
Yeah, Vlad Dracul. Yeah. And his father was supposed to be very, very significant when it came to the holy wars and stuff of that nature and the fight against the Turks. The problem with all of that is the fact that history in that region doesn't really go back any farther than 500 AD. And that's mostly just conjecture and hearsay. So even in that kind of respect, we don't have information that's actually written down. It's more folklore and tales that were passed on. And the same thing goes with England. juxtaposing is what it is. It's when it comes to Ireland and their ideas, and the Scottish and their ideas, and then you combine that with the Vikings. Okay, that's about it. It's just juxtaposing information that's been freaking passed down through word of mouth.
I did just check. I was just wondering when you said that Gilgamesh. When was Gilgamesh written? And that's 2100 BC.
Right. That's why I love Gilgamesh, is because it was written in stone.
Yeah.
You know, if it's written in stone, it's truth. So there ain't nothing more truthful than something written in stone. So if you want somebody to believe you, you go out there and chisel something in stone, and it's true.
You mean like Moses?
Right. There you go. Well, God did that.
Well, no, Moses was meant to be the one that was noting it down, all right? Like, how the hell did he do that? Like, how long would it take you to chisel something into stone? It's not something you could just do on the fly, is it? Like, how quickly was God talking to him?
What's your words per minute?
That's just wrong, dude. That's just wrong. You guys are horrible. What are you doing? We're going to lose viewership. We're going to lose viewership because, you know, these Christians going to hear you guys talking all that blasphemy.
I don't know how it's blasphemy. It's just facts. Like, how fast can you talk? How fast can you chisel?
See, and this goes into what I was talking about with ancient alchemy. Okay, now nobody freaking cares to hear that shit. I always bring up the stuff nobody likes to hear about. Like, do you see alchemy in a lot of these religious texts, and not just Christianity, but all of them?
Oh yeah. Even from the East as well. Like, alchemy was spread all throughout the world, really, in different forms. Mm-hmm. Sometimes symbolic, sometimes physical. It's in art all over the place.
Well, look at Buddha. Buddha sits in the lotus position, okay? And Aphrodite has always been portrayed in esoteric teachings as being flying on a lotus with lotuses on both sides. Okay.
But and could it be that a lotus represents a flying saucer type situation?
You can make it into whatever you want, you know what I'm saying? And then you take a look at Jonah being swallowed by the whale, and compare that to Moses whenever he saw the backside of God on the mountain. They both turned solid white.
They what?
They both turned solid white. Their skin turned white. When Jonah was spit out of the well, he came out and his skin was solid white.
I didn't know that.
I can't remember that from any version I've read.
Yeah, I don't remember that from...
You guys need to read the Bible.
Okay. Are you sure you've actually read that?
Yes, it is.
What? King... whoever... James... version.
You can read the King James version and hear it in there. It's actually an important part of the story.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think the Jonah story is meant to be taken literally. Like,
of course.
I do think the Moses story was pretty literal, according to the remote viewing data I saw.
When Moses saw the backside of God, his hair turned solid white. He was as white as an albino.
Yeah.
Well, I know one thing. If you take too many psychedelics, your hair turns white. That's right.
Now, remember what we're talking about here. We're talking about alchemy, ancient alchemy. Okay. And
so they were playing with mushrooms back then?
Now, in alchemy, what does the color white represent?
Purity?
No, okay, you have albino.
Or like, I don't know if it has a representation in alchemy. Isn't it gold that's more the higher element? in alchemy?
No, every color. You have white, red, black, and uh, they like you have rubido. You also have what is it? It represents albedo. No, you have albedo, rubido, and there's other ones. And white is actually let me see what it is.
Oh, it says here the color white holds significant symbolic meaning, representing purification, rebirth, and the second stage of the magnum opus known as albedo.
Yeah, albedo. Okay.
And negredo is the blackness, which signifies the process of cleansing and spiritual transformation.
Right.
Hmm.
See, I need to keep my notes close when I'm with you guys because Mr. Robot always says, I need sauces. I need sauces.
What?
Yeah, you do. You always do that. Where's your sauce?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean,
Go find
it's
your
good
own.
to have it on hand for sure. I try to sort of just look it up as I go these days, but
Now,
I actually collect like alchemical texts from different periods of time as much as I can, and it's kind of geeky, but it's pretty interesting because it was like in the 1600s Enlightenment era that they thought of it more as a physical thing, like actually turning lead into gold
Yeah.
by mixing all these different like boiling rocks and metals and stuff together, and they came up with these different colors, and it's pretty interesting from just like how did science come about thing, but
well, I mean,
perhaps it's more interesting the whole spiritual transformation, philosophical part of it.
the Philosopher's Stone is meant to be that. It's called the Philosopher's Stone for a reason. And the alchemy comes from ancient philosophers who freaking knew the secrets of life, okay, of the universe, the cosmos. It didn't. They don't call it the stone of transmutation or freaking the stone of turning metals into gold. They call it the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which was merging opposites, and it was the ultimate goal of the alchemical process, was to create the philosopher's stone, which could then be used to transform physical metals. But some say that's literal, and some say that's an representation of consciousness turning into enlightenment from like its base form into an enlightened being, or wholeness.
Well, see, the thing of it is a lot of this information was transferred from the Arabs to the Europeans, and the information got lost in translation. You know what I mean? So a lot of ideas were lost. The
white people just heard gold and they're like, really? How do I make this stuff?
a lot of this came from the Library of Alexandria, and if you remember, the Library of Alexandria burned, and the Arabs were known to go to Alexandria, and they would collect information and take it back to the Middle East. So when the Library of Alexandria burned, we lost a lot of information.
I actually think that was a massive psyop. I think Caesar was in cahoots with Cleopatra at the time, and I think they saved a lot of that information before they burnt it down on purpose, because they knew of the power in the information, and I think that stuff is in the Vatican today, most likely.
Well, I blame it on Eusebius because Eusebius was a very power-hungry person, and he was actually responsible for the murder of Hypatia, who was a scientist back in those days. She was
Are you talking about Eusebius, the Christian monk, or who?
Isn't that the one who ruled over I forgot. I must have messed his name up. Herodotus or some shit.
What did he do? What was his?
Well, what it was is he was a very a very power hungry individual who wanted to climb the ranks within the Christian community in Alexandria. And Hypatia was like one of the first scientists who believed in researching the stars and things of that nature. And the Christian church during that time period thought that the accolade was like a form of witchcraft.
Oh, it is Eusebius that you're talking about.
Yeah,
I didn't know he
Yeah.
was power hungry. I thought he was more of like a historian and stuff.
well, he was supposed to be, but the thing about him is the fact that he wanted to freaking demonize and vilify freaking pagan beliefs. Okay, so he wrote his argument against the pagans. Okay, and in his argument against the pagans, he portrayed a lot of these old deities as evil demons. Okay, as and that's
Really?
yeah, and he was the first to actually bring up the whole idea of Moloch and how these horrible pagans were sacrificing babies to freaking their evil god of hell. You know,
Moloch or something.
yeah, Moloch. And
I also read some of his stuff, and he thought like deities like Thoth, for example, was an actual person. So he like personified a lot of deities, and he thought they were like actual people in history and stuff like that.
he got that from Sanathanathan. Sanathanathan was the one who originally believed that, and I agree with Sanathanathan on that, where these people were recognized as regular beings, which they could have been aliens, like you talk about, but they were deified. You know what I mean? Because of the acts that they did and what they taught. Thoth actually comes from what we would call modern day Turkey. Okay, he was actually a part of the not the Assyrians, but the not the Hittites. But he was up there in the Phoenician. He was a Phoenician, and he traveled.
What?
Yeah, he traveled to Egypt, and he taught the Egyptians math. He taught them how to read and write and things of that nature, according to what they say
Where did you read that from?
from Eusebius and Sanathanathan, as well as from the Egyptian texts themselves.
Well, have you read the Emerald Tablets?
Thoth was not native to Egypt, or
Well,
for whatever you want to call
Greek, wasn't he?
I
Was,
haven't made my mind up on that. But.
yeah, it was Greek.
it. He was actually a later deity. Like he wasn't even
Well,
worshipped.
he was known as Hermes Trismegistus by the Greeks, right? Because he was meant to have incarnated at least 3 times in different forms, and
He was originally worshipped by the Phoenicians as Tawatis. Tawatis.
Tawatis. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, Tawatis. You see.
But yeah, I mean, this is a common theme throughout different parts of the world where there's like a civilizing hero of some kind that has like ancient knowledge and brings it to the people and teaches them how to create a civilization. This is in India, South America with Quetzalcoatl and Thoth. You know, the what's the word? Cornucopium, where there is this like horn full of seeds that like these heroes brought over the sea to grow crops and stuff like that. So yeah, like this comes back to Graham Hancock's idea of a lost civilization before the end of the Ice Age, where parts of ancient knowledge seems to have been preserved in some way or another and passed to like future generations.
The so-called Atlantis.
Yeah, exactly.
Atlantis principle. Yeah.
Now, I personally think that Atlantis is just made up. Now, I am on the I'm on the ifs when it comes to Ma, okay, or Mu.
If you want some like real good information on that, check out the Law of One channeling series. And
Nobody
if
know.
you type in Atlantis in there, it talks about Mu and Atlantis. It says Lemuria happened about 53,000 years ago, and it is actually the predecessors to the people that eventually migrated to Russia, North America, and South America, which is now the Native American Indians. And
You do remember freaking karma, right? Like I am not
Yeah.
reading anything about the power of one ever at all. It is not happening, dude. The law.
well, a lot of stuff from these texts have actually proven to be true, like many years later after it was channeled. So that's why I find it interesting, and it's super detailed. Like, and here it talks about like Atlantis started around 31,000 years ago, and it ended about 15,000 years ago. Now, mind you, this is before we knew that the end of the Ice Age was 15,000 years ago. So, like, it gets these things right. Like, approximately 11,000 years ago is what caused the people to die during that catastrophe, and we know that now through the research of Randall Carlson and stuff like that. Exactly that time period. So yeah, I'm just saying, like, a lot of things from these texts have actually turned out to be true. So that's
Well,
why
see,
I
I
give
mean,
it.
I would have said a lot of disbelief things until you said Randall Carlson, but I do like what he has to say. But I don't
Oh, he
climb.
brings sources, that's for sure.
I don't climb aboard Graham Hancock's ideas. You know what I'm saying? Graham Hancock will do whatever it takes to get publicity, and people don't understand that about him. Like he was the one that actually started pushing. He started pushing the Planet X conspiracy way back when it started. He was one of the big pushers on that, and then when that fell through, he kind of disappeared, and he came out with new stuff, and that's when he started getting into the whole idea of DMT and the
Well,
lower.
no, I mean, come on. He's an alternative journalist, all right, and like he delves into fringe topics. That's what he does. So of course he's going to investigate fringe topics.
Alex Jones.
But what, like, I've got his book actually on ayahuasca and altered states of consciousness, DMT, and that. And
Did you ever find the information I told you about with Planet X? Did you ever do any research on what I said about his theories on Planet X?
He never mentioned Planet X, but he did contribute to the Mars Mystery book, which explored speculative ideas of ancient civilizations in the past, which actually have turned out to have some credence because they found like trace particles of like uranium or plutonium on Mars, as if there's been a nuclear blast and stuff like that. A lot of people have claimed that there was an ocean on Mars in ancient times. So like,
see what happened. What happened with the Planet X thing was it literally freaking gave or it shit on Sitchin's stories of.
Well, yeah, that was
okay.
Sitchin.
Now, Sitchin never said that freaking there was going to be a planet that collides with Earth. Okay, when he was talking about Nibiru, freaking this was something that already took place. It was supposed to have taken place a long time ago. And these people came in and they came up with their Planet X theory, which freaking just caused a shitload of controversy. Then all of a sudden, Sitchin was being criticized and attacked.
Well, Sitchin should be attacked to a degree because, like, his translations turned out not to be very accurate, in my opinion. But at least the things I've looked at, it doesn't seem to
are you looking at Sumerian context or?
Yeah, like when I looked at like actual Sumerian translations, it didn't line up with what Sitchin was trying to say.
Now
He
what
seemed to be very interpretive and
you
of
need
it.
you need to look at the Hittite stories. Like when you look at the Hittites and what they wrote, and then you looked at the Phoenicians, you'll start seeing a lot of things that stick out, especially when it comes to what do they call them? The freaking shiny people, the shiny
Shining
ones.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Sitchin brought that up quite a bit, and people don't realize that that's actually more Phoenician and Hittite than what it is Sumerian. And he even said in one of his interviews that that's where he drew a lot of his information off of, was off of the Hittites.
Shining Ones. What was that from? Isn't that South American as well?
Shining ones are really weird. They come from South America. They come from Egypt. They come from
I actually stood in the doorway of the Temple of the Sun, which has Viracocha on it, which is meant to be the Shining One. Right?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, it is a trippy freaking gateway, man. If you go and check it out, like it's got like reptilian looking angel beings on there with like, lizard faces and shit like that, and like angels, and it's crazy. I'll try and pull a picture up of it.
Now I want to point something out. Sonia just came into the room. Sonia Galactic. The Galactic
Hello.
Federation is here. Didn't think I heard about that, did I? You're being added in as a part of the Galactic
No.
Federation, dude.
No, that's just on Censorship Sucks.
I thought that was cool, dude. I thought that was
Yeah,
really
it was
how-
pretty cool.
how
Sure.
Willie did that.
Yeah, Willie likes it, so
Yeah. Now,
I actually stood inside of this thing on DMT one night. I snuck in there.
What?
I want to point out something else cool that I did, and I got Mr. Robot talking about weird shit so that it was ready for when you got here rather than us talking about politics. Because isn't that cool? Because now
Yeah.
you,
I feel special.
well, I figured you would. So
Thanks.
I
That's
Hey,
did.
check this out. So on the side of this Viracocha being, he's meant to be the Shining One, right? And he's got the similar kind of rod thing that they have in Egypt with the antenna things at the end. And then next to him, he's got all these like angels with like crowns on them on the one side. But then on the other side, you'll see that there's these ones with like bird or reptile heads on the end here, with like feathers coming off their heads and stuff. So it's very trippy. And this thing is so old. Like, I don't even know if we know how old it is.
Well, see, that goes into what I've always been saying. There's all around the world, everybody talks about the reptile and the bird connection. It's everywhere.
Mm,
You know, even in
yeah.
right?
well, I mean, not just the feathered serpent. Okay, now like Sumerians have an old folklore about a tree. Okay, and on the top of the tree lives the bird, and down on the bottom there lived a snake with its young. Okay, now they ended up living together and learning how to cope with one another until, while the snake was away, the bird came down and killed its young.
And what does that mean exactly?
That is like one of the oldest folklores
Okay.
in
It sounds like Cain and Abel.
it,
Now,
it has to do with the bird committed or betrayed the snake. So the snake was told to go within the carcass of a dead animal and wait. And when the bird came to feast upon the carcass of this dead animal, reach out and grab him and and don't kill him. So what he did was he waited within that dead carcass, and when the bird came, he captured him and he dropped him down into a hole, and the whole thing led up to a guy who was a king that his wife was infertile and couldn't have a baby. So, in order for him to have a baby, the bird had to agree to fly him up to On, which is heaven, so that he could ask that the gods allow him to have a baby.
And the story, yeah, carry on.
And
It's-
go ahead.
it just reminds me of like the Mexican condor and the snake situation. But finish your story. Sorry, I just want to say something afterwards.
So what happened is the bird finally agreed, and he was released from the pit. But what he had to do was fly him up into On, which is heaven, and it describes in the story of him flying up and this guy being able to see himself leave the planet, which that kind of stuck out to me as kind of being an extraterrestrial kind of thing.
Well, definitely, I was about to say that too.
But then
And,
But then it says that the bird lost his hold on him and he dropped him, and before he could hit the ground, he was able to catch him, but it saved his life. So that was how he redeemed himself for murdering the snake's young.
Have you heard of the story of the 7 sages of Sumeria?
Well, why don't you tell us about it?
The 7 sages, known as the Apkallu or Abgal, were demigods and wise beings created by the god Enki to establish culture and civilization among humanity. They served as priests of Enki and advisors or sages to the earliest kings of Sumer before the flood. The Apkallu were credited with giving mankind the me, which is the moral code, the crafts, and the arts. They were depicted as fish-like men who emerged from the sweet water of Absu and represented the lower torso of a fish or dressed as a fish, but really kind of like scaly beings, you know. And when you look at what they look like, this is your classic. Well, this is one depiction of them wearing like a fish type things. And notice how it's a similar headdress to what the Pope kind of wears these days, you know, with two spikes. But
Right.
when you go into like some other depictions of what they look like legit alien reptilian type beings, you know. Where's a good example here? You know, and they carry the pine cone. So here's an
Right.
example of where sometimes they're depicted as more like human-like, sometimes more fish-like, sometimes more bird-like, you know, but it's kind of blurry. But do you see what I mean? And they have the pine cone, which, you know, I don't know. There's different theories on
Pine
what that
cone.
represents.
Oh, yeah. I know. There's
The pineal kind of thing.
Even in the Vatican today, you'll see pine cones everywhere. That's sort of persistent throughout history, you know.
I think in the Anglican Church, you see pine cones in various churches and stuff.
And also the story of the 7 sages is also in Greece, and it's also in India. You know, they don't always describe them in the same way, but it's interesting to me that the exact same number of holy philosophers have been like said to be in Greece, and in India they were known as the Saptarishi, the 7 sages, who brought the Vedas and other Hindu literature through I think they were like floating on a whale or something like that. It almost sounded like the Jonah story. But yeah, they also, like, civilizing heroes brought these holy texts that are like super advanced and like started the whole Indian culture basically. So yeah,
Interesting.
it's bizarre, right? So it does make me wonder if we did get this like higher knowledge from like some kind of extraterrestrial interaction event, you know.
Maybe.
So before we go on, I wanna get a little feedback from Sonia, because she never talks anymore. She's just all quiet on
Yes, I'm
that
reserved. Chappie taught me well.
on that last episode that we did with Mike. What was your final thoughts on a lot of that stuff that we did?
Oh, earlier, it was pretty cool. I mean, there was a lot of interesting topics that we brought up, that we talked about, like with the the AI and all kinds of stuff, really. So
This is what you'll meet in 5 a.m. your time.
yes,
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it was excruciating because I had to stay up all night long, and
that's what I've done.
oh my god,
Because I got to go on with Jappy tonight, so I might as well just stay up.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's easier that way.
I turned around, dude, and I did that, and then well, the only thing that saved me was the fact that whenever I went on Dragus Productions, he lost his internet. So
Yeah.
I
Right.
bet you were glad about that one.
This is crazy, huh?
but
Like, out of nowhere.
but then the bad part was I had to be up at midnight to do my esoteric agenda stream. So
Yeah, you're such a busy guy with the hectic schedule, huh?
you know why though, right?
Because you make it that way?
No, because nobody can do what the mighty, infamous OG 1973 can do.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're
I have to agree
recognized.
with that.
It's all about that. It's all about that.
It's all about that. That's
That's
why you
right.
have so many admirers
Not really.
and subscribers, huh?
Freaking they freaking talk shit on me, dude, all the time.
Yeah.
No, not
It's
really.
just part of being on the internet, I think.
Well, no,
Yeah,
it's
for sure, right?
it's a part of being good looking. You know, when you look good, then that's when they talk.
You never show yourself on the screen.
I
though.
know. He's right there, though. It's almost
Yeah,
like
he's
he's
there,
on
but-
screen with his frozen
Almost.
statue right there.
Right, and
Doesn't want to have to do his makeup, that's why.
Yeah, right. I know how that is. Jeez.
yeah,
Such a pain.
well, it's the sexy voice too, though. you
Yeah.
know.
Well, that does the whole thing.
Yeah.
I mean, who needs a picture when you get that, right?
Exactly. And like, it's like shit, dude. You know.
So, what's our next topic, Roger?
Oh, shit.
Well, our next topic is the tower at 666 Fifth Avenue in Manhattan.
Oh, my.
Now,
Okay, this is one I don't know very much about. So you have
Now-
to enlighten me.
this is something that Mr. Robot brought up. He's really into this stuff about Kushner and the Kushner Company, and
Yeah.
they ended up buying the building 666 Fifth Avenue in 2007. Later on, they changed the address, which it's still 666 because of the location, of course, but they changed it to 665 if anybody's interested.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Imagine
if you look for it, you're not going to find 666 Fifth Avenue.
Well, they changed the logo to Citibank, right? Or
Right.
something like
Yeah,
Now,
But this is a picture of it. It used to be 666.
I was reading the Wikipedia entry for Charles Kushner earlier, and
Highly accurate.
he's an interesting character.
Apparently, he overpaid for that building too. Like, it was like a record-setting amount that he paid. It was like 1.6 or 1.8 billion for the building. And then once they renovated it, he sold it for like 100 times more than that, or something like that. It was crazy.
In 2004, Kushner was fined 1,900 by the Federal Election Commission. He was pardoned in Donald Trump actually pardoned him.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
big buddies with Trump, right? They go way back. And
Yeah.
even
No, I understand too. He pled guilty.
he
Okay.
was
Yeah.
convicted of illegal campaign contributions, tax evasion, and witness tampering, and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment.
Now, hold on. Let's hold up. Let's understand something. It wasn't a court system that had to prove his guilt. Okay, he didn't. He literally pled guilty. Okay, so
Sounds like he got a slap on the wrist. Like,
he pled
So
guilty, and Trump let him go.
Yeah.
in
Really.
December of 2020. So what was that? So Trump's first election.
Yeah. What are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then his son ends up marrying Trump's daughter,
yeah,
which is fucking crazy.
Right.
Reunion.
That's totally normal,
exactly. It's like
Oh yeah, political unions, normal.
And just to show you the power of these
Princes and
people,
kings.
right?
Princes and kings have been doing the full
Yeah,
centuries.
totally normal. Totally normal stuff.
Yeah.
gotta love it.
Benjamin
Yeah.
Netanyahu has slept in Jared Kushner's bed. This occurred when Netanyahu was a guest at the Kushner family home in Livingston, New Jersey, before he became Prime Minister of Israel. During his visit, Jared Kushner, as a teenager at the time, gave up his bedroom to Netanyahu and slept in the basement instead.
Yeah, right.
A
Yeah,
lifelong relationship between Yahoo and the Kushner family.
he gave up his bed, my ass,
Huh.
or his ass, I should say.
Yeah.
It's that
That
whole,
is
it's that whole skull and bones thing showing you.
Yeah, in 2015, he paid for the super PAC for Trump's 2016 election campaign. So,
well, all these years I've been trying to figure out why Trump is so pro Israel.
100,000.
Huh?
Okay.
Sorry, you finish, Mark. What were you saying?
He's already finished. We're waiting for you now.
Yeah.
Come again?
Sorry, sometimes there's a delay. Yeah, for years, like everything to me about Trump kind of made sense when he was campaigning and stuff like that. Until it comes to Israel, then he just like everything goes out the window, and he just makes totally illogical seeming decisions, and like it always goes towards Israel without question. And I always just wondered, like, why?
It's always illogical.
Yeah, and it was just like
there is a logic.
Isn't he
to
like
some of his
their
actions.
king or something over there or whatever?
Well,
What I
Sorry, you go.
what it is just it's Epstein. Okay, now Trump freaking had his penis in a lot of young girls, probably a lot of boys too, and
Don't say those words in the same sentence,
Allegedly.
please.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's probably
really
true.
Probably. So allegedly.
Yeah,
It still brings the same vision.
Yeah, I
going on,
know.
so thanks for that.
but it was what I was saying earlier. There's a lot of powerful people who know this because they were there too, and there's blackmail.
This.
There's potential blackmail according to Mark Edworthy. This is something that a lot of people don't want to admit because they're either freaking Trump worshippers or they're freaking
Surface dwellers
yeah.
that don't dig very deep into anything.
fanboys and everything to them.
There's well over 50 photos of Donald Trump with Weinstein or
They're not AI, are they?
Epstein. No, these were before AI was even being
You can make
introduced.
people look aged.
Well, this
and
came out beginning of
young
last
and-
year, where some girls can allege that Trump was involved with Epstein. Yeah, and went on to say that Trump had sex with her, and like to go a bit hard on her
But
nipples
there's
and
been
stuff
a
like
lot
that.
of allegations, and the
But it's
majority,
interesting
there's
that
been a lot of allegations by
this came
nuts.
out before all this like modern Trump Epstein thing, So like now we've had the Musk thing with it, and we've had the cover up.
As far as Trump's concerned, there's been a long history of allegations dating back to the 80s, back to his heyday in
Yeah.
business.
Which
Yeah, he's got a countless amount of allegations.
which brings me to something else. Macaulay Culkin. Macaulay Culkin to this day still doesn't give facts about what happened to him, and he refuses to freaking act, or he did for the longest time refuse to act. Donald Trump was the reason why he ended up getting his part on freaking Home Alone. Wasn't that
Okay.
it? Home Alone.
I've heard a story about that. Dating back to several years after Home Alone. When did that come out? That was
Right.
90.
It was back in the 90s. I know that much.
Yeah, I remember there was allegations made later on, probably in 99, 2000.
He even made a debut on one of the shows where Macaulay Culkin was in New York and he was in the hotel.
Okay, I remember. I sort of remember the allegations.
And that was one thing that really stuck out to me whenever I started being honest with myself, because and the weird part about this thing too is we were talking about this before you came on, Sonia, but do you notice how honest freaking a lot of these supposed alt media people who are Trump supporters are being now that the decision about Epstein came out? Like all of a sudden they're looking and they're saying, "Whoa, maybe Donald Trump isn't as great as we thought he was."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've noticed that.
So this lady testified in court that Trump would come around for dinner at Epstein's house, but he did not get massages at the Palm Beach house because he had his own spa with girls, So,
Of course.
So like, yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So that was something that really sticks out to me, and I mean, I think that it's a good thing that this thing happened with Epstein, because what it did is it freaking kind of brought people out of their Trump worshiping syndrome.
Yeah. A lot of people are still in denial, though. Have you noticed? Like, a lot of people are still making excuses for him, trying to come up with these cockamamie conspiracies of how it could have gone. Yeah, how it could have gone down so that Trump is still innocent, kind of thing. It's like, whoa.
Remember, innocent until proven guilty in a court by reasonable doubt.
I just hope that happens at some point about anybody today, okay? Like all of these accusations that are being made, I would love to see one case that's actually in court. One.
There must be some.
I was just thinking about that the other day.
You could find out yourself.
Like how many...
Did you guys see this though, where like Trump made Charles Kushner ambassador to France, only like came out in June?
Yeah.
So like convicted felon, ambassador of France. Makes perfect sense.
Send his ass to France. Fuck it. Like, if you know what I'm saying? Come on, dude. Whatever. Like, Kushner belongs in France.
I'm going to make Roger the president of France right now.
Oh, God.
Please.
I mean, it's kind of the same, right? I mean,
I agree. I'll vote for that.
You're the president of Spain.
After yesterday's shows of Roger's Real Time Talk Show, man, there's really nothing important about being the president of France. Okay,
the French Foreign Legion.
Well,
Yeah.
no, dude, I found out about their freaking constitution. I thought they changed it twice. Mark got on the internet and
No,
found out.
15 times or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, 15 times, dude.
Between 1789 to 1955.
Yeah.
Does every place have
Yeah.
a constitution? I thought it was just America. No.
Well, at one time, the majority of countries in Europe, except for maybe about 5 of them, had a constitution because, like, here in the United States, everybody's big about, oh yeah,
A written, you're talking about a written constitution. So remember, the
Just-
UK has got a constitution, but it's not codified.
right. Well, I don't think any of them are over there. I don't think any of you guys take time to codify.
Yeah, the constitution. No, there are constitutions such as the Union of Scotland and England, and then the Union of Wales and UK.
So for it would be actually the UK unified, the British unified kingdoms that would be codified, and not the one for just England, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
The English
That would
constitution would become, and Magna Carta. Well, 3 elements of Magna Carta is still active in England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland.
so that's why you're resentful.
The Bill of Rights, or that of Rights of 1689.
That's why you're so resentful and hateful when it comes to me saying government instead of state, because you're a state, not a government.
You know, I ditched most
Well,
of
governments
fake history
come
class.
and go every 5 years, don't they? Well, even if the existing government gets re-elected, that is technically a new government, isn't it?
Right. And it's weird how that's
So,
changed too, because now here we call it a regime change.
That sounds very authoritarian.
Doesn't it? It sounds horrible.
It does.
Kind of reminds me of the pharma patents, how they get extended,
Oh yeah,
you know, and
you
block
were
out
talking.
anyone else from the market, you know.
Yeah, you were talking about that the other day, weren't you?
Was I?
I believe so. The pharma patent, or who was it that brought that up? Was that you, Mr. Robot?
Brought what up? Sorry,
Pharma patents.
Firma. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Pharma? Big
I
pharma?
don't know what that is.
As in PHE.
Oh,
Yeah,
pharma.
big pharma. Yeah.
Which patents? Narrow it down.
You're going to have to elaborate on it a little bit more,
Yeah.
Sonia, so that he understands what. Because
The how big pharma takes patents on a particular drug, and
Okay,
then
yeah.
maybe they modify it just a tidbit, and still and extend that same patent so that it kind of cuts everybody else out from the market, so that they kind of monopolize the whole
they've
thing.
been doing that for a long time. What they will actually
Yeah.
do is they'll go to like places like the Amazon, and they'll just quarter off parts of it and say, we own all of the genetics of all these plants, and like basically then they can create drugs out of all of these plants and no one else can own them. And even if they never end up using it, they've still got the patent on it in case someone ever wants to use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then many years later, when no one wants it anymore, they'll just add a tiny little bit more of another drug to it and create a whole new patent off that. You know, it's been done for ages. It's just money making scandal. Can I just point something out?